All right, here we go. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and coming up on today's show, my second Philadelphia Eagles 2025 NFL mock draft as we get closer and closer to the draft, which is coming up at the end of this month. And speaking of that, here's a look at when the draft will go down, and here on the channel, we'll be live for every single day, for every single round, talking about every single selection. Round 1, prime time, Thursday night, April 24th. Rounds 2 and 3 will take place on Friday night, April 25th, and then we'll round out the 2025 NFL Draft with rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday, April 26th. That draft will happen during the day, whereas rounds 1 through 3 will happen during the nighttime. As for the Eagles' 2025 NFL Draft picks, when you win the Super Bowl and you're the defending Super Bowl champions, you have the honor of rounding out the first round. So Philadelphia on the clock in that first round with the 32nd overall selection. They have a second-round pick at number 64, a third-round pick at number 96, a fourth-round pick at 134 overall, and then 4 fifth-rounders, 161, 164, 165, and 168. So in totality there, that is 8 picks for Philadelphia in this draft, all within the first 5 rounds. And you can get some really quality players in the first 5 rounds of the draft. That is a great job by Howie Roseman. And over the next 2 drafts, as of right now in 2025 and 2026, the Eagles have 20 selections over the next 2 years. So if Philadelphia continues to hit on these picks, they can continue to fortify this roster and build a very deep football team. Adam Schefter earlier this week said something on ESPN that is kind of peak Howie Roseman. He said, I guarantee that at some point in this draft, the Eagles are going to make a trade. And this comes after last year's draft when Howie tied a record for the most draft trades in a single draft. 8 different trades pulled off by Howie Roseman a year ago, and obviously we'll see what he does here in a couple of weeks. So without further ado, let's get my mock draft 2.0 underway. And with the 32nd overall pick, I'm going to take defensive tackle out of Ole Miss, Walter Nolen. Some people are saying that he could slip on some draft boards and be this year's version of Jalen Carter, where he has a lot of ability, has a lot of talent, but due to some teams having some character concerns, they don't take him early. That causes him to drop. And if he falls into the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles, I think that he would be a great scheme fit. I think he has the potential to be a great player. He can help you replace Milton Williams and give you another marquee player along that defensive line. He was the former number 1 overall recruit in his high school class. He's explosive, twitchy, and violent at about 300 pounds. What I like about him, he's very good as a pass rusher in getting to the quarterback. Sometimes defensive tackles, though, are one-dimensional. They don't grade out well against the run. Walter Nolen did. So he's good against the run and against the pass. I really like his motor. He plays hard through the end of the whistle and sometimes through the whistle. Pass rushing moves, they need some refinement, but with this Eagles coaching staff, I think that they can really maximize a player like this. Last year at Ole Miss, his lone season with Ole Miss after he transferred from Texas A&M, he registered 6.5 sacks, 35 pressures, 3 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries, 14 TFLs. That's the ability there to play the run in addition to 48 tackles. Walter Nolen has become one of my favorite players in this draft class. With the second round pick, I'm going to go to the tight end spot. The Eagles took Zach Ertz in the second round out of Stanford. They drafted Dallas Goedert in the second round to replace Ertz, and I think they take Mason Taylor to replace Dallas Goedert this year. He has so much ability. The NFL bloodlines are there. His dad, Jason Taylor of the Miami Dolphins, a Hall of Fame defensive end. The size, it's completely there. 6'5", 251. He ran a 4.68 40-yard dash, so runs well at that size. He's an ascending player who didn't have insane college production but did play at LSU. I think he's still yet to play his best football. Really natural mover, very soft and natural hands, And if you throw it in his vicinity, chances are he's going to be able to reel in that football. So a good catch radius. He can run the seam ball and has the physicality to do that, the speed and athleticism to go up and get it. But he also tracks the ball well in the air. He's also capable of an extended route tree because of some of the footwork and the athleticism. He does need to refine his route running because he's a little bit raw. He needs to improve his technique as a blocker. But again, these are things that a quality coaching staff can do with a young prospect like this. And look at how this Eagle staff, in particular under Nick Sirianni, has been able to streamline the development of a multitude of players on this Eagles roster. In 2024, Mason Taylor, with 55 catches on 79 targets, his quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, who is the son of Doug Nussmeier, who was the Eagles quarterbacks coach last year, is now the new Saints OC under Kellen Moore as he went from Philadelphia to New Orleans. And Nussmeier is probably going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken in next year's draft. 546 receiving yards for Mason Taylor, 9.9 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns, only 1 drop on 79 targets. That's what you love to see, and you can build off of that. Going back to the limited college production, he never really had a year like a Brock Bowers or a Tyler Warren where you said, wow, he's one of the best players in college football. But I think that he can be a better pro player than college player. And just judging by what Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, and Jeffrey Lurie said about Dallas Goedert, they talked about him as if he's no longer on this team. And so if the Eagles can work out a trade of Goedert, I think that Mason Taylor could be a really good replacement. Now we go to the 3rd round, pick number 96, and we're going to address the offensive line with one of my favorite sleeper prospects in this draft class, and he hails from a small school, William & Mary. It's Charles Grant, an offensive tackle with incredible potential. 6'5", 311 pounds, and he has arms that are nearly 35 inches and a 7-foot wingspan. At his pro day, he ran a 5.05 40-yard dash. So when he gets out in space, he can really move well. Really good as a run blocker at William & Mary. They had a run-heavy scheme. As a pass blocker, he can refine his skills there. What I like about him, he didn't start playing football that long ago. Started playing as a junior, and then at William & Mary, he goes on to start 41 games. So despite starting his football career late, does have some decent experience, but at a small level, which is why he's going to have to iron out some kinks and wrinkles. But he was also a wrestler in high school. And with offensive linemen and defensive linemen, I love players in the trenches who have that wrestling background. They're nasty, they're mean, they're agile, they can get low, they're athletic. I like the technique for Charles Grant for a small school guy. Like, his technique sometimes is better than some of these upper echelon prospects or players who went to Power 5 schools. He does have a tendency to hold, has to develop a little bit, but here's the thing. He doesn't have to play right away with the Philadelphia Eagles. He can take his time. He can play tackle. He can play guard, and he can be the next developmental project for Jeff Stoutland. Graded out very well per Pro Football Focus last year on 767 snaps, an overall PFF grade, albeit at a smaller level, of 90.7. But that's awesome. Pass blocking grade of 88.1 and a run blocking grade of 89.9. Only gave up 2 sacks. There are the penalty numbers there. He also surrendered 6 hurries. Right away, might not be elite, but with the traits, the wingspan, the athleticism, I think over time, Charles Grant can become that high upside player who in the early going of his career has to develop a little bit. But then down the road, he can be a high-level player for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now to pick number 134. I think some people are sleeping on LSU edge rusher Bradyn Swinson. He's 6'4", 255 pounds, long arms too, at nearly 34 inches. He is more of a read and react rusher, but I like the feel that he plays with. I think that he would be a really good scheme fit for Vic Fangio, best suited as a stand-up edge rusher in a 3-4. Definitely a little bit of a late bloomer with one good year of college production, but coming out of high school, he did go to Oregon, then he transferred to LSU. I think he's a rotational and reserve player to start, and then over time, he can develop into something a little bit more. But I did really like what I saw on tape from him at LSU this past season, playing in the SEC. He had 58 tackles, 13 TFLs. The sack production was there with 8.5. And how about those pressure numbers? 60 pressures in 2024 alone, and a couple of forced fumbles too. He has a knack for punching out the football. Take notes from Jalen Carter. He does a good job of that as well. And then going back to the production, at Oregon, it didn't really pan out for him. First 2 years, a combined 21 pressures. His first year, he did have 3 sacks. Second year, no sacks. Then he goes to LSU. He has 2 sacks, and then he had his breakout campaign in 2024. A lot more to get to here with my Mock Draft 2.0, but first, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We give you in-season coverage, off-season coverage. We crushed it with free agency. We're doing the same thing with our draft content. So go Birds. We're approaching 120,000 subs. Join the family and join the movement today. And our show is made possible thanks to our friends at Game Time. We have so many amazing sponsors here at Chat Sports. Game Time, none better than them. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. If you're looking to go to a sporting event, an Eagles game in the future, a Phillies game now, or you want to go to a concert, comedy show, theater event, Game Time has you covered. Best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the event gets closer. They have all types of deals and features that allow you to save sometimes up to 60% off, flash deals, zone deals. You can access tickets right from your phone, easily resell your tickets. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. If you're very particular about where you want to sit at a stadium or a venue, you get that bird's eye view, and you can choose. For instance, at Citizens Bank Park, you like sitting in left field, right field, first base line, third base line, behind home plate. You can choose. You see the price point there, and then you can see the view of what you'll see from those seats. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Game Time. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. I don't think cornerback is a massive need for the Eagles, and obviously so far in this mock we have addressed some of the needs on this roster. Philadelphia's in a spot where they're deep, they're talented, they're young. They don't have glaring holes, but they do have some depth issues and weaknesses. And you lost Isaiah Rodgers and Darius Slay in free agency. And so with pick number 161, we go Denzel Burke here, who had the most starts among all Ohio State players on that team last year that won the national championship. Size is good for a corner at 5'11", a $186. He can move pretty well, a sub-5 40-yard dash. Very experienced, as I mentioned, with 51 starts in Columbus. He has quick feet, and he's a very urgent athlete. I like his ball skills. He can locate the rock. I like his instincts. And I know he ran that 4.48 when he did go up against Oregon. He struggled a little bit against their speed, and they were known to have some really blazing weapons on the offensive side of the football. But the consistency and the experience, I think, will allow Denzel Burke to play in the league for a little while, be a rotational corner with an opportunity to fight for a starting spot. He's pretty much seen everything that you can see at the college level. In 2024, 16 games played, a big sample size because Ohio State won the Natty. 3 TFLs, he can play a little bit around the line of scrimmage, 4 pass breakups and 2 picks. In coverage, was targeted 47 times, gave up 34 catches for 413 yards, 2 touchdowns. A QB rating of 94.4, but Christian Parker is a blossoming star on this Eagles coaching staff. I mean, you think about what he did with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. I'm putting my trust in him to develop a player like this. In 2023, he had 10 pass breakups. In 2022, he had 5. And in 2021, another double-digit season of pass breakups. So 2 of his 4 years, double digits in the pass breakup category. He can make plays on the football. We know that Howie Roseman loves to build along the offensive line. We went Charles Grant earlier. Let's go with an interior offensive lineman, and let's tap into that Georgia pipeline. Dylan Fairchild, 6'5", 318 pounds. He has a very stout frame, and he's an athletic freak. He benched 440 pounds, and he can squat 570 pounds. He's hard to move. He's a very gritty and nasty competitor. He's very strong in the run game. He's a little bit inexperienced at times. That does show, but it's nothing that Jeff Stoutland can't figure out. I think the Eagles could stand to take a running back in this draft. You have Saquon Barkley. Will Shipley, I think, can have a little bit of a breakout year if the Eagles want to save Saquon's legs a little bit and save his body after signing him to that contract extension. I know the Eagles also signed A.J. Dillon, but it's for just north of $1 million. I don't think he's a lock to make the team. He's also coming off a year in which he didn't play because of a neck injury, which is a concern. Ollie Gordon is an intriguing back because of the size, the physicality, 6'1", 226, a 4.6 40-yard dash. So he is not a burner, but he's more of a galloper, kind of like DeMarco Murray back in the day. Wouldn't say DeMarco Murray was a burner. He didn't have elite speed, but he galloped, and then he had that open field speed. And what I like about Gordon, too, in addition to him running physically and having really good college production, he's a good and willing blocker, and you can trust him to catch the ball out of the backfield. You lose that with Kenneth Gainwell going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had no drops on 38 targets last year. Not a ton of explosive plays, but you have an explosive running back in Saquon Barkley. Will Shipley has a little bit of explosiveness to his game. And so with A.J. Dillon, Ollie Gordon, you'd have some bruising backs. Last year with Oklahoma State, 190 carries, 880 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, and then 29 catches for $179, 14 total touchdowns, 2 fumbles. The career production, pretty good. In 2023, that was the huge season that he had, 285 carries. So he was worked a lot for 1,700 yards, 6.1 yards per carry, and 21 touchdowns. That's really what put him on a lot of NFL draft radars. And then he's been a capable pass catcher for a little while. It was a down year for Oklahoma State as a team, not just him individually, and I still think he had a really good season. But the last 2 years, he's caught 29 and 39 footballs. And then we go to pick number 168 in this 5th round as well, and we're going to go with a safety because the Eagles have a safety need. We'll see what they do with Justin Simmons, and it's a player who they met formally with in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine. That's Malachi Moore. And with Malachi Moore, he played at Alabama. You have the big college, big school, Power 5, blue blood pedigree. With Malachi Moore, he has average size. He ran a 4.57 40-yard dash. And so there are athletic concerns for sure. But he's a competitor. He plays bigger than what he is. He'll match physicality. He's very aggressive against the run. Right away, you don't need him to play. That's fine on the defensive side of the ball. But while at Alabama, he logged 486 career special team snaps. And so if the Eagles play Sidney Brown more next to Reed Blankenship, that might take Sidney Brown away from playing special teams. He was excellent with that third phase of the game last year. Insert Malachi Moore. Like his leadership, his teammates love him. 2-time team captain. He did kick a football in that loss to Vanderbilt late last year. He admitted his mistake, and players said that can't happen. So he let the emotions get the best of him. But when you're a 2-time team captain, you got the respect from your teammates. And this is just a good football player here who I would definitely take a chance on in the 5th round, despite those athletic concerns. So that does it for my mock draft 2.0. We'll probably do 1 or 2 more of these. Grade it for me down in the comments section. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know and be honest.